Matt, you want to start us off? I
Sure.
don't want to interrupt the email you're typing, so we can pause for a second. If you somebody else needs to take a phone call anyway, so.
Should we just
Should I go? Should I exit and come back in
or
5 minutes?
just wait? No, just really briefly, although I suspect there'll be other questions about this, but for me, just going back to the conversation that we had yesterday, or the Q&A session from yesterday on the letter to the Israelis. Um, there seems to be some confusion about what the warning or what the message to Israel is. And a lot of people have taken the view or have interpreted it as you are threatening a quote unquote arms embargo on Israel. Now, maybe I'm mistaken, um, but my impression was that's not what is being threatened here or being discussed.
So our commitment to Israel's security and to the defense of Israel is ironclad. That will not change. As the letter makes clear, there are implications under U.S. law to the delivery of humanitarian assistance, and Israel doing everything that it can to ensure that the delivery of humanitarian assistance is not impeded. And I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, but it does make clear that there are implications under U.S. law. But our hope is that Israel will take the steps that we outlined in the letter.
I get that, and that's what you said yesterday. But the thing is that the letter talks about additional FMF, foreign military financing. As you are well aware, there is a 10-year MOU with Israel that is already on the books that you are obligated to provide Israel with 3.3 billion a year in FMF on top, and then another 500 million a year until 2028 for missile defense programs. When the letter talks about additional FMF, does it not mean on top of what you have already committed to?
I don't want to get into parsing the letter in any further detail. As I said yesterday, we intended this to be a private diplomatic conversation,
Yeah, well,
not something that we discuss publicly. We're going to have the conversations about the full implications of the letter privately with the government of Israel, but I think I don't want to go beyond that publicly at this point.
Yeah, but additional FMF, that does not include FMF that is already in the MOU that you have already committed to, and in some cases has already been spent, even post 2025 or 2026, whatever.
We are going to follow our obligations under the law, and beyond that, as I said, I don't want to try to.
Well, I'm not sure I understand what your obligations are under the law, and it sounds like you might not either.
I do fully understand. We're going to have
Okay,
good.
so
We're going
does
to have
additional
continue.
FMF mean money on top of the 3.3 billion a year?
As I said,
3.8 billion a year.
This is not a letter that we intended to make public. We intended to discuss public. I understand it is public, and so it's very fair for you to ask questions about it. But when it comes to those implications, we're going to have those conversations privately with the government of Israel. And we hope ultimately that this is all hypothetical, because we hope ultimately the government of Israel implements the steps that we outlined. And there are no further implications.
Right. But further implications, you can't even speak to what one implication
I can't
might
speak
be.
to them here in this setting. And
Okay, so if we drag you outside and off camera, you'll be able to speak to the
if you join the government of Israel, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about the intent of that letter and what
No,
we
I
fully
don't
mean
think-
by it. But I don't think that's obviously that's not a step that's going to happen. No, I'm being serious, Matt. Here,
I get it, but I'm being serious too, because there are people up on the Hill who are outraged and like demanding that this be rescinded, or demanding that you show proof of any potential violation of international humanitarian law or any hindrance of U.S. assistance getting in, and calling this a threat of an arms embargo. And if that's not correct, they should be disabused of that notion, because regardless of what you say about the timing of the letter, we're in the run up to an election. So I think people should know what it is that's at stake here. Is it additional, like on top of what's already in the MOU, which runs until 2028, or does it include stuff that's in the MOU?
So first of all, people on the Hill say all kinds of things, not all of which we
But
respond
this
to.
has become a political thing.
It has become a political thing, but that's always the case with this type of matter. I'm not going to get it. What I will say is, look, we do have an obligation under the law to ensure that Israel has a qualitative military edge. We have an obligation under the law to continue to comply with the obligations of the MOU. We also have an obligation under the law to ensure that Israel complies with all elements of U.S. law when it comes to the use of our security assistance that we provide.
You're saying then that you have not yet figured out how you might reconcile the two obligations, the qualitative military edge and the MOU,
I'm saying
with the additional FMS.
We are not at a point today where we have to make that judgment, and we hope that we never get to that point.